The sun had just disappeared beyond the endless wetlands of Chalan Beel. A thick blanket of mist slowly covered the dark water, and the sounds of frogs and distant birds faded into silence. Sharif and Jabbar were two experienced fishermen who had spent their entire lives on the Beel. They had heard countless stories about a mysterious spirit that appeared only on moonless nights, but neither of them had ever believed the old legends. "Ghosts don't catch fish," Sharif laughed as he untied the boat from the wooden dock. Jabbar smiled, but something about the unusually quiet night made him uneasy. As their small boat drifted deeper into the black water, a cold wind suddenly swept across the Beel. The fishing net began to shake on its own. Then, a voice whispered from the darkness, "Leave before it's too late." Sharif froze. Jabbar slowly turned toward the sound, but there was no one there, only the silent water. The whisper faded, but the silence that followed felt even more terrifying. Sharif tightened his grip on the wooden oar. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Jabbar nodded without taking his eyes off the dark water. "I heard it, but there's nobody here." A thick fog rolled across the Beel, swallowing the moonlight. The small fishing boat drifted deeper into the wetlands as if an unseen force were pulling it. Suddenly, one of the fishing nets sank beneath the surface. "Something big is caught!" Sharif shouted. The two men pulled with all their strength. The net finally broke through the water. It was empty, except for one strange object. An old bamboo fish trap covered with black mud and tangled in rotting weeds. Jabbar reached for it. The moment his fingers touched the trap, the icy air turned even colder. From somewhere far across the water, a lonely lantern flickered. It floated across the Beel without a boat, without a person holding it. Sharif's heartbeat pounded in his ears. "Jabbar?" "What?" "Look behind you." Jabbar slowly turned around. Standing at the very end of their boat was a soaking wet fisherman. His face was hidden beneath a worn straw hat. Water dripped from his torn clothes. Neither Sharif nor Jabbar had heard anyone climb aboard. Then the stranger slowly lifted his head. His eyes were completely white. The figure stood motionless at the back of the boat. His pale white eyes never blinked. Sharif and Jabbar couldn't move. Fear had frozen them where they stood. The old fisherman slowly raised one trembling hand and pointed toward the middle of Chalan Beel. Without opening his mouth, a hollow voice echoed through the night. "Return what was taken." Jabbar swallowed hard. "What does he mean?" he whispered. Before Sharif could answer, the boat rocked violently. The water beneath them began to swirl into a giant circle. The floating lantern drifted closer, casting a dim yellow glow across the ghostly fisherman's face. Suddenly, the ghost vanished. Only wet footprints remained on the wooden floor of the boat. Then, a loud splash erupted beside them. Sharif looked over the edge. Far below the dark water, dozens of pale faces stared back at him. Their eyes slowly opened, one by one. Then every face smiled. The boat lurched forward as invisible hands grabbed its sides and began pulling it toward the center of the whirlpool. Jabbar screamed, "Sharif, they're taking us down!" The whirlpool grew wider. The lantern's light went out. Everything fell into complete darkness. And from somewhere beneath the water, a child began to laugh.